Everyone, it's Regis again from Practice Research Agency. And very recently, we were asked to by a client to collect some information in a survey that we were doing in order to try and inform certain decisions they were trying to make in terms of whether they should activate something. Right? And of course, activation means a lot of things. I'm not going to go into what that means. Activation in marketing could be almost anything, really. And it could fall under the term activation, but maybe a day later or a couple of days later, when I was at the supermarket, I started noticing supermarket activations. And this is a supermarket I go to all the time, at least a few times a week, right? And only the other day, and I've been going there for years, and only the other day, literally after this word activation came up from my client, one of our clients, and I noticed it, and I hadn't noticed it before. I sort of had noticed it before, but not really. And so that's what I wanted to discuss today. So the kind of activations I'm talking about, the in-store activations, are, of course, the attempt to advertise in store, right? So the attempt to advertise a brand or a product or whatever inside the store, which is must be very, very challenging because there's no space. And every single conceivable corner of space is built up with brands, packaging, colors. You've all been to the supermarket. I don't need to describe it. You know what it is? Trying to advertise your brand in amongst all of those brands in that area, it must be a nightmare in terms of being able to actually get any real attention from the consumer, from the shopper in this case, right? This is what I want to talk about today. And the one I wanted to speak specifically was this one that I noticed. Now, I don't work for any of these companies or anything like that. I don't think I have anyway. But I do buy pet food. In fact, we have two cats. And one of the cats, a British short hair, is in fact depicted in the ad. I believe it's quite a lovable type of cat, the British short hair, and very appealing apparently, and so it's used a lot in advertising, and this is no exception. So I go to buy cat food, and of course the other day I noticed this which of course I'm showing you, this humongous activation for Dine, stretching halfway down the pet aisle. Yeah, it's got writing. Of course it's got the obligatory QR code these days. This is our way of getting consumer interaction. This is how you get consumer interaction through advertising. Now you put a QR code on it. Anyway, so let alone on the ground in the supermarket. So there's a QR code here on the ground in the supermarket. I guess what's the idea that I'm going to pull out my phone and go do the QR code on the ground as I let's look at this activation first, and because it's a humongous activation, and I don't know what these things cost companies to do this. So obviously, it's replicated across a lot of Coles, not just the one that I go to. After a while, it all starts to get tatty, running over it with the wheels. It gets torn up, as you can see here as well. And then there's a toilet paper covering up some of it as well. So you're trying to get across the Dine brand name here. You've paid to get across the Dine brand name. And you've got Kleenex and Sorbent in there kind of vying for that space, overflowing down in that area. It's messy. What are Dine paying for here? Now, which of course begs the question. Now, I could be totally stupid about this, and I actually don't have the data at hand. I don't work for these companies. I don't work for the retailers. But I'm thinking as a researcher, okay, you're going to have this activation, and of course you want to know whether it worked. What does work mean? I'm not sure. What does worked mean with an activation? Does it mean I sold more Dine, anything called Dine, while that activation was on? Okay, so yeah, that's got to be a good measure, right? So pre-activation, these are the Dine sales. Post-activation, these are the Dine sales. Of course, as you can see here, there is a confounding factor in the sense that even though it's advertising Dine and this activation has been there for a while, I've seen it, but I haven't noticed it. How do you measure this? So now we've got this. So now, as you can see, the Dine is on special, right? Quite heavily on special, half price during this activation. So you've also got to measure Am I selling more Dine on special during the activation? No, it's not just on special, but at half price, as I was selling Dine at half price before the activation. So you got heaps of variables to measure in there, in amongst, in trying to figure out whether this worked or not. Because worked or not means I sold more. Or maybe it doesn't mean I sold more. Maybe it means I made more profit. I don't know, whatever. Something's got to go up financially. Sales or profit or both have to go up as a result of this activation that they're paying for. Unless it's chucked in for free, I don't know. Dine isn't, of course, just this sort of stuff here. It's these other things, what is it? The tubes and the soups and all that sort of stuff, right? The other snacks and treats and all that sort of stuff. Dine makes all of those as well. So I guess you want to be measuring that as well. Is the activation actually promoting those as well? And of course, you've got there on special a lot of the time as well. So you've got to put that variable. So in the end, you've got to get all of these variables together in order to indicate whether this activation worked. And when you say it worked, did we make more money than we spent on the activation? Or then even you could say, well, no, you didn't. Well, people used to say in advertising, imagine what would have happened if you didn't advertise or if you didn't do the activation. You know what I mean? And it's that kind of thing. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I should. I know. Maybe I should know. I'm a researcher. Maybe I should know more about this. I don't know. But it's not really. It's not really a research thing. It's more of a. It's more of a metrics thing, right? It's a sales thing. You measure sales pre and post this sort of stuff. But I believe that the companies need insight into this in the sense that what percentage of people who go down that aisle actually pay attention to this activation? And is it leading to a change in their behavior? In the sense that if Dine wasn't half price, would this activation make me buy Dine at full price? I buy cat food and I buy Dine and I buy the competitors, right? I buy a lot of cat food. And for me as a consumer, the answer is absolutely not, right? Now, I'm not the only consumer in the world, of course, so you're going to measure this across all sales. But from this consumer, no. I did buy Dine because it was half price, just like I did when the activation wasn't there. What was the activation for? For me, I don't know. And then I started to look around the store for other things as well that I hadn't noticed, and I found another couple of activations as well. So the activations outside of the freezer section, where they put the brand in on the floor outside the door of the freezer section in there. Are people looking on the floor? Is there any eye tracking on this sort of stuff? Has anyone done any eye tracking on this sort of stuff? Do consumers look at this stuff? Or if they do look at it, what are they seeing? What are they noticing anything? What's going on? Right. So as a researcher and as a consumer and as a shopper, I'm actually questioning whether this stuff actually works. Are the companies paying for some sort of tangible result here? Or is it just the new form of, okay, we're not advertising on TV anymore, or whatever the case may be? Or that's probably not quite true. They probably are. But I don't know. So we're doing this instead. What is this? What is this in-store activation where I'm trying to push the brand that's already there? It's already there. It's already on the shelf, right? So, and then on the floor, you're telling me about the brand that is already on the shelf. I don't understand, right? I can see it. I mean, what, you're advertising to me and I can see it. Is it even the right place to advertise to me? Am I even in that mindset where I'm accepting advertising when I'm shopping and at inflated prices because prices are going up all the time? Is this what I'm looking for when I'm shopping? Am I a recipient of advertising when I'm shopping? Is my psychology working in that manner where I'm going to be a passive recipient of advertising, and advertising for what? Of some huge brand that we already know and buy and only buy it up when it's and buy more of it when it's on special. Is that what's going on? Because that's what it looks like to me. Because if it's not affecting me and I shop all the time, why should I assume? And we would measure this, of course, but is it really leading to behavior change in people? Or is it all being justified because yeah, yes, we've had this little rise. We've had this bit of a rise. So when we take it away, it drops again. How does this work? You know what I mean? What's going on here? You could think about traditional type of advertising. Advertising presents you with a brand or a product in an environment where maybe there are no other. Well, firstly, that brand's not in front of you. So when I see an ad on the TV for whatever, baked beans, right? I'm not sharing at a shelf full of baked bean brands at the same time, am I? I'm not. I'm on the computer. I'm on TV, right? I'm watching TV, right? In the supermarket, I'm actually looking at the brand and the products that are being activated. Right? And the whole thing that you are activating this brand is crazy. It's sitting there on the shelf anyway. Right? Got a price on it, there's packaging on it, whatever. This stuff is not really advertising at all. It's just basically pointing me to the brand that is already there when I'm looking to buy cat food. I can't miss it. And in fact, when I do look at Dine, it is only one portion of the shelf. The competitors are taking up other very large portions of the shelf as well, but the activation is all down across all of them as well. So I don't have any answers for this or whatever. These are questions. Are these things being measured properly? Is there any eye tracking going on, or is that just is that out of scope now? Is that completely out of the question that a company would spend some money doing some consumer eye tracking to see what the actual consumer reaction is and not just rely on analyst reports about whether sales have increased or not during that period, because there are so many factors involved in that. So many, and look, these are very clever people and they model it all. I'm not, not suggesting that it's wrong, right? However, what about the consumer angle? What about the customer angle? Are you really looking at that, or is that now lost in the sense that, oh, I don't care anymore about that? I don't even care if it's engaging anyone really or not. I have to spend this money. We're going to do this activation. It might raise things a bit. It might not. Whatever, right? Maybe not. Really, is that what it's boiled down to? Are we making the proper critical assessments of these marketing campaigns? That's it. So that's really all I wanted to talk about today. Thank you again if you've listened this far, and we will speak again soon. Goodbye.